Hello, and good morning from New York. Spiritual healing and growth go together. Help with ACES. There are other things on my mind, but I'll try to focus on those. I'll guarantee you that I won't go off the rails and say, talk about something else. Yeah, this is just one unit every time. This is live, no filter, no editing. It's just crazy old me. Now, as to, I've just got to say this, this, all of these fake gurus out there, it's like, come on, telling you they're God, and things like that. God is a personification of the absolute. You don't have to believe in supernatural God to do that. By the way, it's there's all of these forms of linking to the absolute truth. The unified field experience of the universe. And is that real? Well, we're limited in our senses and limited in our imagination and so on. So, probably real enough to be helpful in your growth. And now, spiritual healing and growth go together. How this helps with ACES. ACES is adverse childhood experiences, and these things predict a lot of what's going to happen to you later in life. And, it's kind of sad. As a world, there's a lot of that all around the world, and you look at war-torn areas, wow. We need a lot of spiritual growth and healing to overcome that. And that's just a fact. Alright. How does spiritual healing and spiritual growth go together, and why do they have to go together? Well, if you know from our previous videos and so on, that our virtues are based on forms of empathy and their connection to our ability to trust. So that's, and these communications grow the trust and the power of the forms of empathy. But not only that, but as I pointed out in a more recent video as well, is these forms of empathy involve other things that you have to try to train yourself in for the process to work as well as it should. And that means working on your objectivity, your creativity, your compassion, and your trust. Put a little effort into those things. Learn what to trust when you're looking for the truth through your objectivity. What are your objective sources? And I would say scientists. Of course. There's a lot of different sciences, and that means rational approach to understanding the universe and ourselves and so on, in one form or another. And also, when you're talking creativity, it means a larger expanse of the ability to take different perspectives, and that includes humor. You've got to have a sense of humor in this world. That means looking at things from a lot of different perspectives, so that you're informed from a number of views. And developing your compassion means, where is your circle of compassion? And we are limited as human beings. We'd be exhausted if the circle were too large for us. We say we love the whole world, but what are you actually going to do for the whole world? But you do want to take the whole world into your circle of love, certainly. But that outreach of compassion means, developing relationships that are helpful to you and to the other person. And that can mean very intimate relationships or even casual friendships, work, friends, and so on. So working on those things. And that also means handling people who are difficult, who are not very objective, not very creative, not very compassionate, and those who have a great deal of trouble with trust, of course, because without those things, then it's hard to develop trust. Now, that is obviously, you need those things for spiritual growth. And the practice of using, the empathies that helps you grow your trust and your proper faith and or trust and worthwhile sources, and how you image those to be. That is within your own mind. So all of the techniques in inner mind communication are part of that. This brand of inner mind communication. Okay. So we're talking about the growth. Let's go to the healing. These things not only are things that involve personal growth, but how do they heal you? How does it help heal you? ACES, and how does this relate to ACES? ACES, this is adverse childhood experiences. And this is damaged faith and love, and I've talked about that a number of times. So the spiritual healing is the fact that you're using these things that link you to your virtues of goodness, truth, and art, and trust. Appropriate trust. That's your spiritual growth. It's also your spiritual healing, because you're approaching this in this way. It's a spiritual way to help you with your spiritual is all about love. It's all about efficiently meeting your needs and other people's needs, in the best way you can. And in an imperfect world, you're not going to find anyone who's perfect. Don't give them money to somebody who's telling you or intimating in clever ways that they are perfect. Come on. Really? We have many different skills as human beings and so forth. So that's one way to heal. There's people with a lot of ACEs that will tend to be more gullible, not know what and who to trust. And somebody comes along and says, it's an easy path. Follow me. I'll replace you. The parents weren't as loving as they might have been, and so on and so forth. It's all magic. You chant my name. Please don't chant my name. I'm an old grandpa sort of guy, And I believe that part of healing, spiritual healing, means knowing your place in society. And we grow. There's growth and there's healing as well. In the 3-generation family. The children, the parents of those children, and the parents of the parents. That should be the core family. The other is just not all that functional by itself. Just the parents and the kids all on their own. We at least need the 3. And a decent community, of course. It takes a village to raise a child, supposedly. And, there's a lot of truth to that. It also takes a village to harm a child, sometimes, I hate to say. We have a lot of people who are not on the mystic path, and, they're not open-minded and spiritual and open-minded meaning, creative empathy. Humility about what you believe, what you think is the truth. And, acknowledgement that your caring is going to be somewhat limited because you're a human being, You're not the absolute reality. The absolute reality seems sometimes not so friendly. But we are part of it all, and from that perspective, wow, that's a different that's a place of bliss, actually, where you can appreciate the story of your life and all of the experiences of your life. It's a great book that you're reading or a movie. So from the creative artist perspective, which is your higher self, your Paramatma, and there's heaven, and you can touch it right now. So, how does it heal ACEs? Well, that's damaged faith and love. And the disease behind ACEs is trauma. Trauma is connected to helplessness. If there's no helplessness, then, to feel what you feel, to express it, and be playful with it, and to focus on it. That's and also to have the relationships that are helpful with connection to your needs and feelings, which are the three empathies I talk about. And empathies is not a word, three forms of empathy. There we go. Until finally they allow it in the dictionary. Anyway, language grows, changes. Okay, so how does it work? Well, the helplessness, again, creates an intolerable feeling of anxiety. And you can't live in anxiety. Anxiety will take you, harm you. So you got to at least dampen it down some, and then the way the brain does that, and it's not a conscious decision that a person makes, so don't get into fault finding. You didn't do anything wrong to have ACEs, or neither did your parents. And probably, if you have ACEs, they probably did too. And the fact is, who doesn't have a few? Anyway, the brain jumps in and gives more attainable situations, more empowered situations, and so that the person feels safe. Because you're trying to have this safety, but the reality is that you're not safe, and you have touched helplessness, and that's become like the symbolizing of that helplessness was necessary for your survival. So not your fault. And the symbolizing of it is how you end up hurting other people, because symbols can't be fulfilled. You can never have a satiation point from symbols, because it's not real needs you're dealing with. You're dealing with artificial need, or needs that you had in the past. So, there's something wrong with what I just said. Did you catch it? Yeah. Let's redo that a little bit. Symbolic need and symbolic empowerment is part of how we get out of feeling that anxiety. Like, give me an example of the empowerment thing. If you were totally messed over, and the only safe place for you to go in your mind would be to be the oppressor who harmed you. One fashion or another. Then that's where you're going to go. So this is a disease. This is not, you can cure people with that by beating them over the head and punishing them. You can control behavior somewhat by having disincentives, which is your good, jail and lots of things, but to have the intention to punish people, that's not the point. They're unhealthy. They're hurting. And, okay. And so, yeah. So that's, when you go back and you feel that helplessness, that original helplessness, that need attached to helplessness, and you do that by being able to feel it, to be playful with it, to even focus on it. And what gets in the way is all the symbolic. And so you have to get out of the symbolic. And on the infant mind side, the pre-language side, that can mean, like if you had oxygen, starvation in the womb, you might have had coldness, and then you had compounding of that by emotionally cold parents, which is somewhat likely in situations perhaps. Yeah, and then you wear a coat, you be more sensitive to the cold. You bundle up when other people are not needing to. And, that might be your symbolic defense. Since you get like a warmth in the belly, so to speak, from close and supportive friendships, you didn't have that, perhaps, the non-communicative level of hurt that's involved with that. It might mean that, I drank alcohol and I felt warm inside. I felt less inhibited. And, that's like, you say the sad drunk, the angry drunk, These are ACEs expressing themselves. But that doesn't heal you. You have to break through the symbolic defenses. And you don't do that roughly, just by tearing them apart, You're wrong, so you're just not a caring person, or hitting people with stuff like that, punishing attitudes, harsh measures, that doesn't work. The person has to stay in the comfort zone and expand it slowly, to embrace a greater sense of self, more flexible sense of self, and in so doing, you unlearn the helplessness, and then can attach, then you realize that the needs involved in that helplessness are losses, and you need to grieve those losses so that you can, the more you grieve those losses, the more you can forgive those involved. And the more you're able to do that, then the more you're able to face the most tragic thing of all, is how we ourselves have hurt others because we were hurt. And that kind of true remorse means that you're a new person to some degree, born again. A lot of times, it's like the dark night of the soul, and there's the stages of a mystic, follow, yeah, your path is going to be different than the next person. Yes, it's a mystic path, but you're spiritually growing. Is everyone a mystic? Well, to some degree. I mean, who doesn't use, because this is a way to comfort yourself. The approach that I talk about is a way to comfort yourself, but from different perspectives, so that the symbolic doesn't hold up. So that you gradually move away from that symbolic and the real needs and things start to emerge. This can be a very quiet process, it can be a very loud process, because you're finally feeling what happened to you. And, you're also learning to be more playful with it, and to be even able to focus on it all, to realize what it was. So, yeah, that's just the process of healing. When you go through that process of healing, you are helping with the problem with ACES. As some people have wisely pointed out, it's not like you were never hurt. You were. And you're not going to be the same as if you hadn't been hurt. Some things are, going to be different. But it also means that you can become a wounded healer, which is something that in the Christian faith is talked about a lot. I'm not endorsing any religion. I'm not going to do that. Alright. And, basically that's it, There's a lot of great videos and presentations about ACEs and PTSD and other things that are related to the subject and to, personal growth. That are great videos. I'm not really good at this YouTube thing, so I try to mention a few, in a description of each of the videos. Okay. And I do have a website, which certainly be improved probably, but it's innermindcommunication.com. Okay, like with all of the presentations that I make, I like to say namaste, because that means that I would like at this moment to honor from the same position of the wonder and beauty that I'm a part of, that the universe is. I'd like to honor that in you. There's our old phrase. It takes one to know one. You're a human being. You already know. Don't do it. Follow the path.